Well, right now they're capable of staying on top of the current, and they have enough money to buy into anything they want to. So they're trying to keep control, and so they're just trying to ride it out.
Conspiracy theory known as the Great Reset, which claims a group of world leaders orchestrated the pandemic to take control of the global economy.
And that was the beginning of the Golden Triangle, which continued on into the years of U.S. intervention in Southeast Asia.
But those who sit at the top of the pyramid, the financial behemoths running this oppressive and violent economic order, have largely operated in the shadows.
Capitalism as a system has coexisted with, and on occasion sponsored, feudalism, monarchy, fascism, slavery, apartheid, and underdevelopment.
I agree with everything he has to say. I think he'd be, a nightmare to me in many cases, but he at least is looking at a new world. We need visionaries that can understand the technology of tomorrow, the social impact of those things, explain it, and help us get into that. And I see very few of them on the horizon.
Yeah, everything below the horizon will seem to go up. Just like if you're in a long hallway, you'll see that the walls will start to move in, and the roof and the floor will start to move into the center. Yeah, so literally between you and the object you're looking at, there's all sorts of things, sort of like waves going up and down, and while you can't see them, if they're beyond the limit of your sight, sometimes they can still obscure what you're looking at.
Okay, BBC. That's not what we said. I'm not going to even attempt to prove that they're just going to take over the world. That's not the plan.
This story is about 10 rather close relations of ours who seem to get into almost exactly the same kind of trouble we do. All 10 of these jolly characters lived in the same neighborhood and were all good friends. Good friends.
Kissinger has previously argued for a joint effort between the U.S. and China on that issue, saying it would result in, quote, maximum pressure and workable guarantees while minimizing the risk of conflict between the two countries. Kissinger added the U.S. must take into account the concerns of South Korea and Japan.
But if I could prove that influential leaders are working in concert with the World Economic Forum and the UN, and many of your leaders are there, and our leaders are there, and giant corporations are involved.
Like Coca-Cola, massive amounts of money come from those investment management firms. They go into Coca-Cola or American Tobacco or the auto dealerships. Multinational companies, they need to have money, they need to have people invested.
Because it's really Wall Street that's setting those up and making those plans.
We never said the World Economic Forum orchestrated the pandemic.
Transnational corporations get a lot of money from those sources.
Read for yourself.
The precariat is the working class people who aren't doing as well. And they're the ones that voted for BritX in England.
But that's not what we said.
And so they're standing up and revolting. So now we're trying to figure out, how do we deal with middle-class people voting?
God forbid. Or have you done that and you know?
It's not you and me investing in them unless you're in a pension plan that does a little bit of that.
Which is theirs. I showed you their academic papers that they've already begun to publish. Everything is there in black and white. It would be a conspiracy if that's what we were saying, but this is no conspiracy because they're not really hiding it. It's out, fully, open, in the public.
One day they held a group think and decided
You're taking the entrance of the Temple of Baal.
Just do the right fucking thing. How did we get here?
Well, I think, again, this speaks to what's going on in this country in terms of revolt. that we realize, like, all this stuff, whether you're talking about the healthcare system, whether you're talking about police reform, or whether you're talking about impoverished communities that are stricken with crime and drugs, it's not changing under the normal conditions. Like, something has to happen, and something has to happen in a big way to change it. And all these things need to be addressed, right?
But that's not what we said. They did not create it.
The problem is that we're taught as children.
I rest my case. Thank you.
It's a very difficult subject to get your head around if you're not used to it, but it is perspective.
High because it was financed with drug money from Colombia.
There is so much to this. As I said, if you start looking and asking questions about the very basic things, you'll find that the answers you were given as a child just do not make sense. Small, tiny,
miniature,
unimportant pieces of slime. Literally, it's a money-making scheme.
As a conspiracy theorist, I really suck because they seem to happen.
But then, as anyone can plainly see, he isn't a monkey, right? Now, that sounds as if you really mean it, right?
By the way, a genius move, if I may say so.
Feudalism, monarchy, fascism, slavery, apartheid, and underdevelopment.